All right, Yankees fans, buckle up because today's topic is one that could shake up the entire baseball world if it ever came true. We're talking about Bryce Harper possibly landing in the Bronx, finally putting on those legendary pinstripes that he once dreamed of wearing. Yeah, you heard that right. Bryce Harper and the New York Yankees. Just saying that out loud feels like baseball fantasy talk. But if you've been following what's been going down in Philadelphia and the whispers around the league, maybe it's not as crazy as it sounds. Let's rewind for a second. Years ago, before Harper signed that monster deal with the Phillies, there was this widespread belief that he wanted to be a Yankee more than anything. Everyone thought it was written in the stars. The swagger, the power, the big market energy, it all just screamed New York. But the Yankees, for reasons that still baffle fans today, decided not to pursue him. Maybe they thought they were already loaded with Aaron Judge coming into his own, Giancarlo Stanton's arrival, and promising young bats like Clint Frazier climbing the ranks. Whatever the case, they passed, and Harper went on to Philly. Fast forward to now, and it's fair to wonder if Brian Cashman ever looks back and thinks, yeah, maybe we should have gone for him. Because, let's be honest, Harper has been one of the most electric players in the league since the day he stepped onto a major league field. Even in seasons that are considered down years for him, he still produces numbers most players would dream of. The guy's a competitor, a showman, and when he's locked in, he's a nightmare for any pitcher. Now, the interesting part is that the vibe in Philadelphia seems tense. Reports out of the Phillies camp suggest that things might not be as smooth between Harper and the organization as they used to be. Dave Dombrowski, the team's president, made some eyebrow-raising comments recently, saying Harper is still a good player, an all-star caliber guy, but that he didn't have what he called an elite season. That's quite a statement when you're talking about someone like Bryce Harper. Sure, his numbers weren't his career best. He hit around .261 with 27 home runs, 75 runs batted in, and an OPS just under .850, but that's still solid production by any measure. For Harper, though, the expectations are sky high. He set the bar so high for himself that anything short of MVP-level dominance feels like a step back. Now, here's where things start to get interesting. Word around the league is that Harper might be a little frustrated with his current contract. He signed that massive 13-year deal with the Phillies, worth over $300 million, and at the time, it was groundbreaking. But the market has changed a lot since then, and players with smaller resumes have been signing bigger annual deals. So, it wouldn't be shocking if Harper feels like he's underpaid, especially given what he's meant to that franchise on and off the field. He's 33 now, and he's still got 6 years left on his deal, worth about $140 million. That comes out to roughly $24 million a year, which, in today's market for a superstar, actually looks like a bargain. But if Harper's unhappy, if he's feeling undervalued or underappreciated, that could open the door for something dramatic. And this is where the Yankees could step in. Let's say New York strikes out this offseason in trying to land Cody Bellinger or Kyle Tucker. They'll still have a need, maybe at first base, maybe in the outfield. And suddenly, a window opens for them to make a move that would send shockwaves across baseball. Harper has played some first base in Philadelphia, and by all accounts, he's handled it well. The Yankees could slide him in there and make Ben Rice their full-time catcher, giving them flexibility and keeping that lineup dangerous from top to bottom. Of course, a deal like this doesn't just happen out of thin air. The Phillies would have to be willing to move on from Harper, and the Yankees would have to find a way to make it work financially. Taking on that contract means they'd likely want Philadelphia to eat some of the remaining money. After all, even if Harper had a slightly down year, he's still a star, and stars don't come cheap. But here's the thing. If Harper truly wants out, and if Philadelphia senses that their championship window is closing or that they need to reshape their roster, maybe they'd be open to it. And if the Yankees come calling, how could Harper say no? This is the team he grew up wanting to play for. The stadium tailor-made for his left-handed swing. The short porch in right field calling his name. You just know he's imagined what it would feel like to hit bombs into the bleachers at Yankee Stadium while wearing that iconic uniform. Now, what would it take for the Yankees to pull this off? That's the million-dollar question. Some people believe it would take a huge package of prospects, maybe multiple players. But others, looking at Harper's age, contract, and the Phillies' possible willingness to move him, think it could actually be done for less. There's one name that keeps popping up: Austin Wells. Wells is one of the Yankees' top young players, a left-handed hitting catcher with legitimate power. He's got team control for several more years, and the Phillies happen to need a catcher since JT Realmuto's future in Philly is uncertain. Wells fits what they'd be looking for perfectly. Trading him would sting, no doubt about it. He's a fan favorite, and he's shown flashes of becoming something special. But to get a player like Bryce Harper, you have to give something up. That's just how it works. Imagine that lineup, though. Bryce Harper hitting in front of Aaron Judge, or even between Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. That's a dream scenario for Yankee fans. Judge is one of a kind, one of the most dangerous hitters in baseball, and the kind of presence who gives the guy batting before him the kind of protection most players never experience. Harper has had great teammates, no doubt, but he's never been part of a lineup that features multiple power hitters who command that kind of respect from opposing pitchers. Picture Harper coming to the plate in Yankee Stadium with runners on, the crowd roaring, pitchers forced to attack him because Judge is waiting on deck. That must-watch baseball. And it's not just about the offense. Harper's attitude, his edge, that fire he brings, that's exactly the kind of energy the Yankees could use right now. He's emotional, he plays with passion, and he's the type of player who elevates everyone around him. Some people wonder if his personality would clash in New York, but honestly, I think he'd thrive there. The city loves stars who play with heart. He fits that mold perfectly. If this kind of move ever went down, it would completely change the vibe of the Yankees. You'd have Harper joining forces with Judge, giving the team two of the biggest faces in baseball under one roof. The marketing, the buzz, the energy, it would be through the roof. And from a baseball standpoint, it just makes sense. Harper's swing is built for Yankee Stadium. That short right field porch would turn some of his long fly balls into home runs again. The numbers would pop, the fans would go wild, and Harper would finally get to play for the team he's always admired. Of course, the big question remains: would the Phillies actually pull the trigger? Would the Yankees risk parting with a young, controllable talent like Austin Wells for a 33-year-old slugger with a huge contract? It's the kind of gamble that could define an era. But think about it. Harper still has plenty left in the tank. This isn't a washed-up veteran looking for one last payday. This is a guy who could easily put up 30 home runs and drive in 100 runs next season if he's healthy and motivated. Put him in the right environment, surrounded by stars, and he could very well return to that elite level people are saying he lost. Now, let's dig even deeper into how a move like this could actually happen, because for as wild as it sounds, there's a real-world logic behind it. When you look at where both teams stand right now, you start to see how the pieces might fit together. The Phillies are still competitive, sure, but they've fallen short of a championship even with Harper playing at a high level. That front office has to be wondering how long their current core can keep pushing without major changes. The Yankees, on the other hand, are desperate to make a statement. After another disappointing season where injuries and inconsistency define the year, they need a spark, something bold that reignites belief among the fans and sends a message across Major League Baseball that the Yankees are still the Yankees. And what better way to do that than by bringing in Bryce Harper? If this deal ever started to take shape, it would begin with a simple phone call. Cashman reaches out to Dombrowski, floating the idea. The Phillies might act like they're not interested at first, but if they're being honest, moving Harper's contract could give them flexibility to address multiple areas at once. They could retool their lineup, add pitching depth, and still stay competitive in the National League East. The Phillies would never admit it publicly, but in private, a trade like this might not sound so crazy if it brought them a young, controllable, left-handed catcher with pop like Austin Wells. Remember, Realmuto's not going to be around forever, and the Phillies don't have a long-term replacement ready to go. Wells fills that hole immediately, gives them offensive upside, and fits their timeline. It would hurt them to lose Harper, no doubt, but if they believe his best years are behind him, or if there's even a hint of tension between him and management, this could be one of those rare win-win situations for both sides. For the Yankees, it's a classic high-risk, high-reward move. You're bringing in a big contract and a big personality, but you're also adding a proven superstar who thrives under pressure. New York isn't for everyone, but Harper's built for that spotlight. He's one of those players who feeds off energy, who loves the big stage, who wants the challenge. The boos, the cheers, the constant headlines, none of that would rattle him. If anything, it would fuel him. And think about what that clubhouse would look like with Harper walking in. You'd have Aaron Judge, the calm and steady leader, Giancarlo Stanton, the quiet powerhouse, and Bryce Harper, the emotional spark plug who wears his heart on his sleeve. That trio alone would change the entire culture. Every game would feel like an event again. Now let's talk baseball, because the fit is actually better than people might realize. Harper at first base makes a lot of sense for the Yankees. It fills a need and gives them flexibility. Ben Rice could stay behind the plate full-time, and Harper's presence instantly deepens the lineup. The Yankees have been searching for that perfect left-handed bat to balance things out, and there's no one better suited for Yankee Stadium's short right field porch than Bryce Harper. He could turn fly balls that barely missed the warning track in Philly into home runs in the Bronx. And just imagine those postseason nights in October, the crowd chanting his name, the bat flips, the fireworks. That's the kind of energy Yankee Stadium has been missing. Of course, it's not just about hitting. Harper brings leadership. He's intense, vocal, and genuinely obsessed with winning. You can see it in the way he plays. Every at-bat matters. Every inning matters. That attitude is contagious, and the Yankees could use that kind of edge. They've had talent for years, but sometimes you get the sense that they've lacked that emotional spark, that raw drive to push through adversity. Harper brings that in spades. He's the kind of guy who will dive for a ball in April like it's Game 7 of the World Series. Fans notice that. Teammates notice that. It changes the whole dynamic of a team. Now, would Harper waive his no-trade clause to come to New York? I think he would. He's always admired the Yankees, and there's something poetic about the idea of finally joining them later in his career, when he's experienced the ups and downs, when he understands what it means to chase a title year after year. This could be his chance to finish the story he started dreaming about as a kid. Plus, he knows what playing in a big market is like. Philadelphia's no small town. If he can handle the passion and scrutiny of that fan base, he can handle New York. But before we continue, please remember to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support allows us to keep bringing you the latest news about the New York Yankees. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments. Rumors are swirling across the baseball world as Kyle Schwarber reportedly departs Philadelphia, sending shockwaves through the league and setting the New York Yankees lineup on fire. Insiders suggest that the powerhouse slugger, known for his mammoth home runs and clutch performances, could be the missing piece that catapults the Yankees' offense to new heights. While nothing is confirmed, whispers from the clubhouse hint at intense negotiations and a deal that could be finalized sooner than fans expect. Schwarber's exit from Philadelphia marks the end of an era, leaving Phillies fans both stunned and disappointed. The left-handed hitter has been a consistent force at the plate, blending power with occasional streaky brilliance. His departure raises questions about how the Phillies will fill the void, particularly in key matchups where Schwarber's bat has been decisive. Meanwhile, speculation is heating up in New York, where the Yankees have been looking for an offensive spark capable of turning close games into decisive wins. If Schwarber lands at Yankee Stadium, analysts predict a dramatic shift in the lineup's dynamics, potentially giving Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton even more protection and opening new tactical options for the coaching staff. Fans on social media are already buzzing with excitement, imagining Schwarber's towering homers flying out of the Bronx in record time. The potential chemistry with the Yankees stars is fueling fevered discussions among commentators, who suggest that a Schwarber-led lineup could be nearly unstoppable in the postseason. Yet, the whispers come with a dose of uncertainty. Contract details, trade components, and long-term strategy all remain shrouded in mystery, leaving speculation to dominate the conversation. For now, the baseball world waits with bated breath, as one of the season's most tantalizing rumors threatens to reshape the American League and redefine the Yankees' pursuit of championship glory. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the New York Yankees, please subscribe to our channel and give us a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.